Alright guys, welcome back to the GSL Code A round of 48 with Aldo and Wolf. And our next match is going to start very soon. We have Polt against Sound, a really great Terran versus Terran.
Yeah, should be really good to see. Sound, you could say he's a pretty sound Terran player, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's coming up from Code B, like everyone else on the right side basically. And I don't know how well he's going to do against Polt. Polt coming off of a loss versus Thorazane in the DreamHack Finals, as I mentioned earlier. He seems a little bit down by it. It definitely wasn't his best performance ever. But he's feeling confident about his match today. That's something he definitely said. He smiled and said that to me, and I feel like he's pretty much ready. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into Polt versus Sound at the GSL Code A round of 48.
And to the left side of the map, we now have our Terran player for the TSL team. It is Polt. And, well, he can be pretty confident with all the results that he had in foreign tournaments in the past. But he's up against a StarTale player, starting at the top of Metropolis in the blue color. We have Sound. He was practicing a lot with Hack, and both of these StarTale players were not too happy with the opponents they had to face in the first round.
No, definitely not.
You're up against Alive and you're up against Polt, and I just asked Hack, okay, who do you actually play? And he looked like a little bit sad, and he was like, yeah, I'm playing Polt. So I looked over to Hack and asked, okay, Hack, who do you play? And he started to look sad as well. I'm playing Alive.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. They're training a lot together. And
yeah, very true. You know, basically they're both Terran brothers playing TVTs against really strong opponents. So I feel like we'll see in this play from Sound something similar to what we may see with Hack.
It was something that was so funny when I was at the TSL house. Naniwa is harassing all of these Terran players on Skype, on Twitter, in everything. Not only Hack and Sound, but also Polt and Bomber. And Bomber is such a poor guy because he is sitting there and everyone wants to play against him. Naniwa wants to train for his matches against MVP. Sound and Hack want to practice their TVT because they don't only want to face each other the entire time because they kind of figure out their style and everything. And so Bomber, he has to prepare for his own match, but everyone is just saying, Bomber, let's train.
Yeah.
And he's such a nice guy, so he always does
He really is. I mean, despite his constant, you know, mannering of the various things that fall from the sky, he does seem to be a very mannered guy. Very
he
nice
did that
person.
in a game when he played against Naniwa, and suddenly he called down Manamuse, and after the game he was like, I'm so sorry, I wanted to scan. It was so funny. He was really upset about it.
Well, now we see the advantages of scouting earlier, as he does get denied here. Polt, on the other hand, was able to get inside of, or rather, Sound was able to get inside of Polt's base and see exactly what he's up to.
Yeah, and look at these openings that we have. We have exactly the same opening. We have expansions, but where Polt was able to spot the command center of Sound, Sound currently does not really know what's happening in Polt's main base. Polt will have a little bit of a disadvantage, obviously, because his command center is in the main.
Yeah.
Therefore, he loses a bit of time when he flies down to his mineral line. But on the other hand, he could keep his strategy a secret.
Oh, it's actually the other way around. Sound saw Polt, but Polt didn't see Sound. And as a result, Sound...
No.
Yeah, see, Sound saw Polt, and
No.
Polt didn't see Sound. Well, he saw the command center now, though.
That's Polt. He saw Sound, and Sound didn't see Polt.
No, he did. He saw no gases, rather.
Ah, okay.
But he didn't see
he
the
get
actual
it?
command center.
Yeah.
So as a result, Polt had to delay his command center and didn't make it on the low ground.
Okay.
But either way, yeah,
okay, sorry.
basically, well, we're making too much of a big deal of this because it's actually common in TVT.
Yeah.
But it's common in TVT to
I
lack
was just
information.
confused. I was like, yeah, I just looked at it.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically, he doesn't know 100%, but he knows because he saw no gas because he got into the main base, whereas his opponent wasn't supposed to see but saw the commands on the way out, so he got lucky.
So they basically have the same.
Yeah, they basically have
at this point.
The only thing that's different is that Polt's gases were a little bit late and his command center was a little bit late. That's the difference.
Yeah, and he has it in the main base, and now we see exactly what we were talking about. He has to fly down, loses a little bit of mining time at this point. Slight advantage for Sound. But
Yeah.
it's those slight advantages in the early game that actually help you in the mid game and in the late game.
Yeah, he's been mining for so long here. His starport is significantly ahead. Look at that. Starport just now starting for Polt. And all of these little things definitely do add up. They're really important. You know, if you get your first Banshee out a little bit earlier or your first Viking out a little bit earlier, everything does add up here. And it looks like we're going to have both players potentially make Banshees here. Just one, very likely. They might go Viking first.
And players just invest so much time in order to perfect their builds, so every second counts, even a half second. They try to figure out how many probes they need in gas, how many probes or workers in general they need on minerals in order to make it perfectly work, and this is exactly what we see happening here. We have the Banshee and Cloak at this point for Sound, whereas Polt is making the first tank.
Yeah, and we're going to see basically, I think, both players transition into Marine tank from here. But Polt, on the other hand, is going for that faster stim. Has a second barracks up and running right now. Very Polt-esque thing to do. Polt really likes his bio play. Will hardly ever go mech. In fact, I've only seen him go mech maybe once or twice. It's something he doesn't feel very comfortable with. And, you know, I've said this time and time again, but maybe some newer viewers. Polt says the reason why he does not go mech is because it's just too difficult. He said, of course it's better, but it's really hard. I don't feel comfortable. Sound is going to be meching, though. He's actually made the switch. He's no longer making Marines. He's actually adding double factories right now, and we're going to have the clash of strategies here.
We have the Banshee heading out, whereas the first... Well, you already saw it with the Marine at the Zalnaga Watchtower, but we also have a Viking in his main base, so I would be really surprised if this Banshee is actually able to do a lot of damage. But he doesn't even head for his opponent's main base. He just tries to control the Zalnaga Watchtowers at this point. He'll try to get some scouting information. But I think the Viking is already clashing with the Banshee. Yes, there it is.
Yep. And nicely done. Nice repel there by Polt. And Cloak was cancelled. Nice choice by Sound. He's going back. He needs that 200 gas. Spawn already has the Viking out. Why not just play it safe? Get the Raven out instead. The Raven is very, very important. Of course, getting the Blue Flame as well. But the Raven is so important with mech play because you can use that point defense drone against Marauders. That's the big key.
And also against, if you need against Vikings, which is kind of unusual, but still something that we have to keep in mind, might be important later on. If he transitions.
Very, very true. That's a very common transition for a non-meching player to make when behind. Caldor is, of course, referring to hiding starports, making a ton of Vikings, trying to use Banshees, and or sometimes battle cruisers.
If it comes down to the late game, that is. I mean, in a usual game, we won't see that happen all too often. And right now, we have a nice drop in the main base of Sound, but not doing too much damage. And the Viking... Nice, the Viking might be able to kill the drop with all the Marines trying to escape onto the island.
You know, as much as I love Polt, and he's a great guy. He's actually a really good friend of mine, and he's a very strong TSL player. Double kill indeed. I feel like what we may be seeing here in his TVTs, at least in my experience, is a failure to adapt to this new style, and he's desperately trying to find openings. But Sound is shutting him down at every turn. He's taken a huge supply lead here, and he's going to have the better composition, especially on this map, I feel. It's a great map to mech on, and this is just time and time again in Polt's TVTs where it counts in these tournaments I've been watching. He's been struggling with his Marine tank versus the mech play of his opponents. That's happened quite a lot, especially against Koreans.
Yeah, if you think about the last TVT that he actually played, I think it was the final of DreamHack that he fought against Warzane, where he lost with 3-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's very correct.
So, one of his weaknesses definitely in the Terran versus Terran, and Sound is, as you said, he is ahead in supply, and he is doing so well. Polt investing a bit into the third command center, trying to set up a third base. Siege mode is just about completed, but here come... Oh, actually very nice. Hellions with SCBs to repair them. I like this.
Beautiful, man. He has cleaned up so many of Polt's units. Polt is in trouble now. This is not a good engagement, though, for these Hellions. Now that the Marines are coming, though, he has to retreat. He's actually going to target down some of these siege tanks.
Wow.
And this game may very well be over, Caldor. He has no defense. He has no bunkers in position. Auto turrets being dropped for extra DPS.
The tanks are gone already. So are most of the Hellions. But now he's sieging up. Sound is sieging up. He still has a ton of Marines and a few Hellions. And Polt is dropping in supply like crazy. He's down to 60 now.
Yeah, he's down to 60. The auto turret's buffering quite a bit here. He's not going to waste any time. He's already got Vikings on the high ground here, even landing his barracks. And Polt getting crushed here, essentially. I don't know what else to say. In his booth, you can see he's just a little bit distraught.
A very, very nice two-base timing attack by Sound here. All that hard practice definitely paid off. And that was very well done.
Yeah, very well executed, very well mech'd, and it's like he knew every move Polt was going to make with his drops. He had his Vikings in position.
Oh, the one thing that I forgot to mention earlier when I talked about the preparation of Sound, I was really weirded out at some point when I watched Sound practice, because he was watching streams the entire time, and I thought, Sound, you have a match coming up, and there's Hack sitting right next to you starting to practice, so why don't you practice? And I asked him. And I saw that he was only watching Polt's stream, and then it just clicked, and I was like, yeah, obviously he's facing Polt, so he's trying to prepare.
Yeah.
And Hack just started laughing and told me every time Polt plays Terran player, Sound is completely zoned out, just watching the screen and trying to figure out what exactly Polt is doing. So another example of how he can prepare for a match, and that it's sometimes really, really important not to stream, that you might reveal a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Polt, a player who streams really, really often, and his style is quite known. Everybody knows Polt's not going to back. Everyone knows you're lucky if you see Polt make a siege tank, man. You might add that in there, but otherwise he's pretty much sticking with Marine tank or just very bio-heavy with Marine Marauder medevac.
I was also surprised to see Polt stream while he was preparing for the GSL. Maru started streaming immediately after he lost his game, after he was out of the group stage, so he started to stream a little bit. Naniwa told me that he is not going to stream anything up to the point where he lost where he's out of the tournament, so that he will have no pressure and won't reveal any strategies. And that's how most players handle it. They don't stream when they have an important match coming up.
Yeah.
Polt is preparing a lot on ladder, and well, maybe this was one of the problems that he had here.
Maybe overconfidence as well. You know, you're streaming, might be overconfident. Well, let's get into Game 2 on Dual Site to see if Polt can tie things up here at the GSL round of 48 for Code A.